It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by SureHold, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, SureHold has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. ShipShape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ShipShape means trouble-free. ShipShape means being neater. ShipShape makes boat work easier. ShipShape is the way to go. The ShipShape Boat Care Show.
ShipShape, America's favorite boat improvement show, is being brought to you in part by Mid-Island Marina, home of the VIP guarantee, and by Calusa Isle Marina, an entire island devoted to you and your boat, and by Fort Myers Beach Marina, over 60 years of doing things right.
Thanks for tuning in to ShipShape, the boat improvement show. I'm John Greviskis, and this is my partner, Burt Dell.
Howdy, folks.
Today on ShipShape, we're going to show you some refinishing techniques on the marine woods around your boat.
More specifically, ash, teak, and mahogany.
Now guys, if you're going to be doing this project in the near future, why don't you get yourself a piece of paper and pencil to jot down the essential tools you'll need for the project.
One of the first things you're going to need is a wide range of sandpapers ranging from 50 to 320.
You're also going to need a sanding block, and if you don't have a store-bought block, you can go ahead and make yourself one using a 2x4, just cutting it down to fit your hand.
Naturally, you're going to need a scraper. Now, you're going to want to round the corners of your scraper as to not ding the wood as you're using it.
Don't forget about getting yourself some good quality masking tape to mask off areas you're not going to be treating. Now, we recommend the 3M brand for this.
You're also going to need a good quality brush to apply the varnish.
To take the dust and all of the gunk kind of off of the surface, you may want to use a good commercial grade lint-free rag or a tack rag.
Some of the other tools you can use are a heat gun, a palm sander, and a vacuum cleaner.
That's pretty much all the tools you're going to need for today's project. Now guys, if there is a suggestion that you have and you'd like to see covered here on the show, write us a letter or send us a fax.
Write down your inquiries and send them to ShipShape TV, P.O. Box 31561, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, 33420. Or fax us your suggestions at area code 561-626-4348.
And remember guys, if we use your suggestion on the show, we're going to go ahead and send you out a free t-shirt. But right now we need to hear a word from our sponsors. You know, the guys that make this show possible.
The ultimate 3-in-1 boat hook from SureHold. Engineered to serve multiple purposes, this versatile 3-in-1 tool can be used as a traditional boat hook for docking and securing your vessel, for carrying a dock line to a pillar or cleat, for safely pushing off a dock space, and more. Compatible with all SureHold handles using the SureLock system, the SureHold boat hook is an essential tool for any successful boating adventure. SureHold. Clean and simple.
Welcome back to today's show. I'd like to first show you some samples of ash, teak, and mahogany. Here we have some wood laid out here for you to look at. This particular piece is a beautiful piece of mahogany that's come off of a 1961 sport fishing boat. It's actually a cabinet door. This is going to be the piece that we're refinishing today.
Mahogany is native to South America. It's a tall, evergreen hardwood tree that turns reddish-brown at maturity. Let's begin our refinishing process by removing the hardware from the back of our door. What I'm using here is just a common screwdriver. We'll go ahead and place all the screws and hinges in this bucket so we don't lose them. Also, if you're taking several pieces off your boat, you may want to number them. This way, when you go to put them back on, you'll know where to go. It makes life a lot easier.
Now once the hardware is removed from our cabinet, we're going to go ahead and mask it off using, again, this good quality 3M masking tape.
Before we apply our stripper, we're going to round the corners of our scraper to reduce any scratches or nicks that may cause while we're using it. You just want to file the corners off. You don't have to take off very much material. You just want to roll it over just ever so slightly. Very, very lightly, just file it down.
Now while Burt's filing our scraper, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and prep the wood to put the stripper on. I'm going to go ahead and clean it off with a rag just to get the dust off. Get any of the loose dirt. You want to let the stripper really get to the surface here. And again, what we're using is a good quality 3M stripper. This is called the safest stripper, and it's real water friendly as well. Good for cleanup. Now when you're applying the stripper, there's a few things you want to remember. With your brush strokes, you just want to go one direction. You want to get a good amount on here. Now remember, with this stripper that we're using, this 3M stripper, the thicker the stripper, the better it's going to work. Just going in one direction. You don't want to cross your strokes here, and you want to just kind of blend it in together. Nice and thick. Now this is going to take about 1 to 3 hours to set up. Now with our heat here in Florida, it shouldn't take too long for this stuff to kick. Probably about an hour.
So we should see it curling up right quick like.
Oh yeah. Now one thing you want to remember is you don't want to leave this stuff on too long. If you do leave it on too long and you're working with a veneer, it's going to delaminate your wood.
So it'll pull that veneer right off the door.
Exactly. Now this is a veneer. This is a mahogany veneer that's on this panel here, Burt.
Right.
And if we leave it on too long,
what it'll do is actually start disbonding the glue.
Exactly. So it's just even brush strokes, and you want to get all of our edges naturally. It's okay if it kind of overlaps there and falls down on this piece of plywood.
Well, that's why we have it.
That's no big deal. And can you go ahead and get that side for me?
Let's see, let me get this in down here for you. I think we have it covered, John.
It's looking good.
Yeah. So that stuff should start curdling right up right quick, like actually today.
Now another good tip is this stuff is water-based. So basically, if it does dry on you from the sun or from being outside, don't worry about it. Just mist it down with a light misting of water, and it'll get it soft again. As long as the material's soft, you can work with it. Now simply use the scraper to remove the varnish. You want to be careful, again, not to put any gouges or nicks into it. With us rounding off the corners of our scraper, that's really going to help alleviate that.
Once your area is thoroughly scraped down, you want to apply some stripper to a stripping pad and go over it again. This will loosen up any left varnish. You just work it in and it'll peel it right up.
After that's completed, it's time to get our final stripping pad and to use some water to get all of the residue off of our wood. How's it looking there, Burt?
I think it's going to be pretty nice, John. Should finish up, look really good.
Now once the wood is dry, we can go ahead and start the sanding progression. We're going to start with a coarser grit and work to a finer grit.
Now that our wood is dry, it's time to start our sanding progression. You always want to go with the grain as you're sanding, and then just graduate your paper right on up.
Today on What's Hot on the Water, we're going to check out the Century 2280 light tackle fishing boat. And with us today to explain the boat is Robert Wagner, the sales manager out here at the Fort Myers Beach Marina. Now, Robert, this is a very well-built fishing boat for some of the backwater.
That's correct, John. The idea of the boat, the premise behind it, is for light tackle and for ease of getting into and out of very shallow water. With the tunnel hull performance that the boat has, it's able to get up, get on plane, and move away before other boats have an opportunity to even see what you're doing.
Now, the tunnel hull, this is something real innovative the Century has come up with. And actually what it does is it pops the boat up on plane. Rather than a typical boat, you know, when you're coming out of the hole shot, your bow is pointing into the sky, and this just pops you up on plane.
That's correct. It gives you a soft ride. It gives you ease of coming out of very shallow water, where most boats have a very large dead rise or deep boat into water, and they tend to drag along the sand. This boat very softly rises you up, and you move away with ease.
Well, when you're talking about softness, one thing that really adds to the ride in this boat are the fiberglass stringer system. And this fiberglass stringer system actually gives you rigidity, but yet gives you a softer ride in the water.
Gives you a smoother way to perform. Most boats, where they're banging and slapping and chopping with the full-length stringers and the way the glass is laid up and the smooth lines and the softness, and the expertise that Century uses in the manufacturing, the boat tends to ride smoother and ride quieter, and fishermen love that.
Yamaha owns Century, and what kind of engine's on this boat?
Pro V150 saltwater edition.
This is the new stuff.
This is the new high-tech. Also has the fuel management system, which is on board on this boat, much like the larger boats.
Okay, let's talk about the unique flushing system that Yamaha's put into this new motor.
This is forward of the engine, forward of the hood as it is, and what it is you merely unscrew a garden hose attachment, attach your garden hose, flush it out with fresh water, and put the boat away.
Now, are these attachments that you have to put onto it, or are they built right in?
No, that's built right in from Yamaha. It's a garden hose attachment, and it's a mere unthreading of a garden hose. Put it on, let the water flush it out,
It's a really neat
put the boat
feature.
away.
I love it. Obviously the boat's laid out to fish. Let's talk about some of the fishing amenities that it has.
Large bait well, big casting deck on the bow of the boat, very easy wide gunnels, and a very wide boat, 8-foot beam boat.
What kind of fish boxes?
This has a forward storage capacity fish box, as well as I mentioned the lighted aerated bait well on the back.
That's great. Now let's talk about price. Is this a boat that we're going to be able to afford?
Very much so. Normal price on a boat is $23,995, and we're offering it for a limited time for $19,995.
Well, that's great. How long have you guys been in business?
60 years.
Over 60 years that you guys have been here. Grandparents have bought boats from you. Parents have bought boats from you. And now their kids are buying boats from you. And you guys must be doing something right. What do you attribute it to?
I would attribute that to our service manager, Ken Lohr, who's been here 11 years. And we are a pillar and an anchor in the industry, and really here in town.
Okay, super. How do we get to see you?
Come south on San Carlos Boulevard. Before you go over the bridge to Fort Myers Beach, make a hard right, come down to the water, here we are.
Fantastic. Talk with Robert, check out the Century 2280. You'll be glad you did.
Bringing you style, performance, and value. Come see the complete Chris Craft line at Fort Myers Beach Marina, making your dreams come true.
With me today is Tom Dante, the Dean of Instruction from Chapman School of Seamanship. Tom, thanks so much for having us out today.
Thank you, John.
Now today we're going to take a closer look at the channel markers in the Intracoastal Waterway. Tom, I was hoping you could elaborate on that a little bit.
Certainly. The channels that we're going to be negotiating are all marked by the IALA system of markers.
Now what does that stand for?
Okay, IALA stands for the International Authority for Lighthouse Authorization.
Okay.
And in particular, these markers designate what side of the channel we need to be on. They can indicate sharp bends or turns in the channel. They give us directions on which way we're going. In the case of the Intracoastal Waterway, which starts in New Jersey, we're going to be following a small part of that route from New Jersey down the coast of Florida, and that's where we are now in Stuart, Florida, and it ends basically in Texas. We want to be able to show you what these markers look like and what importance they have to you when you're negotiating these different channels.
So these markers in the Intracoastal Waterway are specific just for the Intracoastal Waterway?
That's correct.
Okay.
And they're designated by specific markings that are on these different day marks. For example, if you are negotiating the Intracoastal Waterway, you're usually going to find a small yellow triangle or a small yellow square on the regular buoy markings, or day markers as we call them.
Okay, can you show us one of those?
Certainly.
Now, Tom, I noticed that we have a square green sign off to our starboard side now with a number 3 on. What's the significance of that?
Okay, first of all, we're not yet on the Intracoastal Waterway.
Okay.
We're strictly on the IALA B aids to navigation marks right now. And the IALA stands for International Association for Lighthouse Authorities. This is the organization, the federal organization, that signifies and indicates where these markers are going to go and what their meanings are going to be. So as you see here, as we go by this one here, you'll see it's a square, it's green in color, and it also has an odd number on it.
Okay.
Which means when we're leaving the channel, that particular day mark is going to be kept on the starboard side of the vessel. And as you can see, we are keeping it on the starboard side of the vessel. If we should go on the other side of that, we can get into trouble, we can get into shoal water, or there may be rocks over there, whatever. That's not where the channel is marked.
And the number 3 signifies what?
The number 3 signifies, as well as the shape and the color, what side to keep your vessel on in relationship to that marker. If you notice on the left side over here, we have a triangle shaped, it's kind of orange-red in color.
With a number 4 on.
With an even number on it, correct.
Ah, so we're going odd numbers, starboard side, even numbers on your port side.
When we're going out to sea.
When we're going out to sea.
On the IALA B system.
I've got it.
Okay? You're going to see that's a little bit different when we get on the Intracoastal Waterway.
Well, let's take a look.
Okay.
Now, Tom, I noticed that, again, we have a square green sign and a triangular red sign up in front of us, but the numbers are going down. What's the significance of that?
Okay. In the IALA system, anytime you get to the entrance of a new channel, you're going to see that you start with your basic numbers, 1 and 2. So in this case, if I'm coming back from sea, going back to my dock, my numbers are going to increase.
Now, is there a certain amount of distance in between the numbers, or is it just a reference? Exactly how does that work?
First of all, those numbers do something else for you. They allow you to reference a very important piece of paper. That's your chart. I can take each one of these numbers, and having some general idea of where I'm located, I can go to my chart, and now I can find on my chart where that particular day mark, in this case, is located.
Wow. Okay, now this is all making sense.
So now, not only do I know where I am in the channel by looking at it this way, I also know where I am on the chart. So it's like a road map.
Absolutely.
Okay, you can see now we're coming up to some floating aids to navigation. The buoy, as we call them on the left, is red in color, has an even number on it, and it's what we call a nun buoy. It's a nun buoy. If you take a look on the right, we've got what we call our green can, and that also has an odd number on it, number 3. And notice once again, they're gate buoys. They're fairly close together. And I can tell you from my own experience that if we get off to the right side over here, on the other side of that green can, there's a shoal there with only about 2 feet of water.
So they want to channel you through here and get you away from that shoal.
Exactly right. So we need to stay on our road, basically, our highway that we've got here in front of us. Okay, the other thing you can use your buoys for is determining which way the current's going. You can clearly see on the red nun that we're looking at there that we have a strong outgoing current. And it's probably about 3 knots or so. And the reason I can tell that is there's about 3 rings that are built up on the high side of it.
Well, I can see that we're actually in the Intracoastal, heading north, actually towards New Jersey. Tom, again, I see a number on the marker, on the starboard side, on the green marker, 239. Now, what's the significance of that?
Okay, John, once again, you can see that we have a green, square-shaped, odd-numbered day mark off to our starboard side. And anytime you're heading towards New Jersey, you want to keep your green markers on your starboard side. You want to keep your triangular-shaped, even-numbered red-colored markers on your port side. That's the general configuration. But the real thing that tells me that we're on the Intracoastal Waterway that makes this marker different than any of the other ones we've looked at is notice that it has a little yellow square.
I see that.
And when we get close enough to our red triangular-shaped marker off to the left, you'll notice that that has a little yellow triangle. When we see those yellow marks on our day shapes, that indicates that we're on the Intracoastal Waterway. When you're negotiating a channel, whether it's the Intracoastal Waterway or any other narrow channel, it's important that you look behind you as well as in front of you because there's an imaginary wall between your different types of markers. For example, these two green ones that we have in front of us here, there's an imaginary wall between those two. And if you should drift off to the side, you may think you're in the channel, but in actuality, because you've gone on the other side of that wall, you're outside of the channel and you can run aground. John, we're coming up to a bridge now located on the Intracoastal Waterway, and a couple things I need to know before I try to go underneath that bridge. One, I need to know what the clearance is. I need to know what the clearance is between the water and the bottom of that bridge.
How do we find that out?
Okay, there's a couple places we can find that out. One, we can go to our chart, and this particular bridge, the vertical clearance according to the chart at the center is 28 feet at mean high water. The other thing I need to find out is what my clearance is on my vessel. Okay, on this particular vessel, the height to the top of my highest antenna is 16 feet. So you tell me.
So we have plenty of clearance.
We've got plenty of room to go under that bridge. One other place that I can look also to find out what the vertical clearance is at any particular time, that means high water, low water, whatever, usually off to the side on the structures off to the side, there'll be these numbers. And those numbers will indicate what the vertical clearance is at any particular time. Okay, you always have to expect the unexpected at some times, and you can see over here that they're working on putting up the vertical clearance signs, although we can't see them at this point. But if we take a look up top here, we'll see there's two other signs visible.
Now what's the one with the telephone on it, Tom?
Okay, that's your VHF channels in which you utilize to call the bridge tender. You've got channel 16, which is your primary channel, and channel 13 is the channel that you're going to actually be communicating with the bridge tender on.
So the 16 says that they're monitoring 16.
That's correct.
Okay, okay. Now the other one here.
Okay, the other sign indicates the openings of this particular bridge. This vessel particular sign here indicates that the bridge opens from December through May on the hour and the half hour, Monday through Friday. Also, it indicates when it opens on demand, which means all I have to do is signal or call him, and he'll open that bridge up for me at any time.
Well, Tom, thanks so much for actually taking us out there and showing us what the markers are for. I know it's pertinent information that every boater should know. And again, I just thank you for being on Ship Shape.
Thank you very much, John.
If boating's your game, then you'll agree. Ship shape is the way to be. Out on the lake or on the sea, ship shape means trouble-free. Ship shape means being neater. Ship shape makes boat work easier. Ship shape is the way to go. The Ship Shape Boat Care Show.